everyone, meteorologist Carly Smith here. We are talking heat. If you're watching First Edition, you already know half of what I'm talking about, but I'm here for your questions. Ask away and make sure they're weather related, and I'm thankful that you're watching. So crazy thing about today. First of all, our heat index has stayed above 100 for a feels like temperature for 24 hours officially. Technically at 10:37, it did briefly drop to 99, but it wasn't really long enough to count essentially. So yeah, it's been hot. This is extreme. The National Weather Service, myself, and then I'm sure Alan Holt will all be looking into, has this happened before? When was the last time it happened? But something that I know has only happened twice in our history is having a low of 85 degrees. So far, that is the lowest I've seen the temperature drop today. So we do still have a chance till midnight to drop below 85 degrees, which is possible. We tend to, if our low is 80, 70, there's a chance. But today I'm only going, I think, a low of 82, 83. So I think we're going to possibly tie this record all-time warmest low that was last reached September 9th of 1942 and then August 17th of 1950, which is just crazy. So right now we're still cloudy. We still have haze in our atmosphere. The smoke, that's still impacting our skies and our air quality. 87 degrees right now at 9:20, feels like 104. Peak heat index could top out around 114, 113, 114 this afternoon. So it's going to be hot. It's going to be windy. That wind is coming on shore. The big waves out in the Gulf are creating some mixing, so we do have slightly cooler temperatures out on the water, and then with the wind blowing over the water, it feels a little cooler, especially as the sun starts to go down. But regardless, it's going to be hot across the board. Even at the island, it'll feel like it's 103, Corpus Christi 113, Kingsville 115. Now here's where we start to talk a little bit about change. Now there's no big change in the forecast, so if I tease that too excessively, I apologize, but we are going to see our heat index values drop, our humidity drop just a little bit, and our temperatures are going to go up though. So I'm expecting sunshine Friday and Saturday, high temperatures in the upper 90s, low temperatures a little cooler. We may get back into the 70s. So you notice that the orange and the pink, they get closer together. That's because our dew point drops just a tad, but our air temperature is able to go up just a tad. So as our dew point drops and our air temperature goes up, our heat index drops, but our air temperature is able to go higher. So regardless, it's still hot, no matter how you look at it. And here's why. Here's the reason for that pattern change. So what we have going on in Corpus Christi right now, high pressures to our south, which has us more in a westerly. We've been in this kind of westerly, southwesterly flow, right? Based on the position of that high staying to our south. This high is going to build to our north. That's going to tap in our upper level atmosphere, at least into a little bit more of a northwest to northeast flow. Now this is a cold front that's approaching Wednesday. Notice the rain really doesn't make it to Corpus Christi because at the surface we still have really strong southeast winds. This high builds over us. As the high builds over the region, I expect more sunshine by the weekend, and I also expect higher air temperatures. So 97 degrees, there your high temperature, heat index 110. So yeah, it is going to get hot, and most of the rain, as you can see here, staying pretty much to our north until maybe middle of next week. As far as temperatures go, with the high building more so over us, if not a little bit to our west, I think our low temperatures will fall back into the 70s, but they're not dropping dramatically. But it could be 10 degrees different than today by the time we get into the weekend, so we'll take that. I got a pot of popcorn popping on the street right now. Is that true, Don? Because I think it needs to be a little hotter for that. But I love doing those kind of experiments, like cooking cookies on your windshields, which our air temperatures really are not that hot, and so cookies and things like that need that. But cars heat up really quickly, which is why news outlets have done that trick over and over again. So here's how fast a hot car will heat up. 10 minutes. If it's 90 degrees, it'll feel like 109. If it's 95 degrees, it'll feel like 114. So that is what we're looking at, which is just wild to say. 20 minutes, 119 when it's 90 degrees, 124 when it's 95 degrees. We do get up into the nearing 140 when it's an hour with temperatures in the 90s. So that is just crazy. But here's a look back at what is going on with our temperatures. You do see them falling or rising. Air temperatures go up, but heat index values go down just a little bit. Nothing too dramatic. Yes, okay, so I don't know, it's not necessarily the transition between El Nino and La Nina, it's really our sea surface temperatures. So these are sea surface temperatures right now. This is Rachel's question. Cook a pot pie in your car. It'll take a while. The thing is, it takes a while because normally we're cooking at 350, right? So your car is like 140 max, but still excessively hot. Okay, so these are our sea surface temperatures, which when we zoom out, look at this, it gets even hotter. So the pinks are above 85, and it's like that all in the main development region. We still have some areas there, especially the Cape Verde. That's where a lot of hurricanes kind of try to get started. That area has some Saharan dust, which is keeping it a little bit gloomier out that direction. So those temperatures are below 80 still in the main development region, kind of tropical systems, but we do have really high heat index values. So our surface level winds that's blowing over the water are coming out of the southeast. So they're coming from these hot, look, the Caribbean Sea is in the mid 80s. So our air is traveling over that and then across the warm Gulf and then into Texas, which is keeping us extra humid. On top of that, we've been dealing with the fires. That's nothing new. That happens every season. But the combination of the fires in Mexico, the agriculture burning in Central America, and that extra warm sea surface temperatures for this time of year, that combination is just increasing kind of the thickness or say the amount of cloud coverage and the amount of humidity in our atmosphere, especially overnight. And that's why our temperatures are just not cooling down efficiently overnight. And when you start at 80, it's really easy to get it to 90 once the sun comes up, right? So in fact, we would be in the upper 90s easily if we didn't have all of this haze in our sky. So it's just, but then our lows would be different overnight and our humidity might be lower. So the combination of both the humidity timed with the smoke, because typically we have these sea surface temperatures more so later in the summer, and we've gotten rid of the smoke. So it's the combination of both, the timing of both happening this early in the season, or the temperatures this early in the season, that is really triggering all this humidity and heat, unfortunately. So Enzo plays a little bit of a role, but it's more so the current conditions that we're seeing in the Gulf. I love all these hot jokes. We got to get through it somehow, right? But this is the pattern change that I was talking about. I'm going to stay on here for just about 3 more minutes. And so what you see going on is the high pressure setting up more so to our west, and that's going to create more of a northerly flow in our atmosphere, as you see here, which does bring drier air, but it allows our high temperature to go up. We're going to keep rain out of the region, and the high pressure just kind of sets up more so over Texas later this week. Now, past this week, there are some interesting changes, but that's too far out to get excited about. But this one, Thursday and a Friday, as this high pressure kind of sets up over the panhandle, that's when our air temperature is going to go up and our heat index is going to drop just a tad, but not a lot, allowing those low temperatures to fall again back into the 70s. But tomorrow, I expect us to still be in the mid 80s. For overnight lows, and that's what makes this heat extremely dangerous, because you don't cool down efficiently. If you don't have a place with air conditioning that can keep temperatures closer in below like 75 degrees, if you're sitting at 80 plus all night long, your body just isn't cooling efficiently, and that makes you more susceptible to things like heat stroke. And so we got to be really cautious about that. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of hope for rain, but with that being said, we do have a chance tonight that's very determined by what happens on the dry line to our west. And so as these storms move in, they're going to be weakening. That will be tonight, right around 10 o'clock, and then they'll weaken. And by the time you're heading out the door tomorrow, you probably won't even know that there was a chance of rain. Yeah, Rachel, I hope that helped. I think that's going to do it for this update. We'll leave it on the 7-day. And if you ask any questions for the next 2 minutes, I'll try to answer it. But for now, I'm signing off. This is meteorologist Carly Smith. Thanks for watching.